Hello there, and welcome to the program that takes you on the ride in 25 minutes to seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. On this week's episode, we bring you the story of a young Nigerian inventor who built a solar-powered outdoor workstation. And it is October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and my chat with Chibuike Good News, a cybersecurity expert, focuses on how to reduce cybercrime. We'll give you more in a moment. This is Tech Trends, and I am Olayemi Udunuga.
The internet, like the steam engine, is a technological breakthrough that changed the world.
Young Nigerian inventor and embedded systems engineer Oluwatobi Oyinlola has built a solar-powered outdoor workstation called Solar Poacher to aid working outside. According to Oluwatobi, who is a graduate of Tai Solarin University of Education in Ogun State, Solar Poacher provides users with internet, stable electricity, and seating spaces.
Oluwatobi Oyinlola is a telecommunications graduate of Tai Solarin University of Education Ijagun in the Ijebu-Ode area of Ogun State. The young tech genius, also an embedded systems engineer, has over the years been making his mark in the industry by providing Internet of Things solutions, as he is fondly called Internet of Toby among his peers. But Toby, despite his wins, is determined to continue to make an impact in his society, especially his alma mater.
While studying during undergrad, I had these issues of power. Anytime I want to work on my laptop, there's not going to be power for me to charge my laptop. And then I felt like, how can we solve this problem? Solar Poacher gives you three things: power, internet, and a space to work. And then from my experience of issues with how to power my laptop, Solar Poacher was able to solve that completely. And students can come anytime, any day, and use the workstation. They only need to do one thing: book the workstation ahead of time.
Solar Poacher is an outdoor solar charging station that provides off-grid clean energy to power mobile and portable devices, LED lighting, Wi-Fi, and IoT booking capabilities in the form of a canopied table with seating. Building Solar Poacher came naturally to Toby with his background in IoT, and so within a space of about 3 months, he built the workstation using materials readily available to him.
I started working on it by just a sketch. I tried to check online to see, is there something related to that? I couldn't find anyone with IoT, whereby a student can book, or the online booking management system. So it took me roughly like 3 or 4 months to kind of finish with both the construction, the IoT parts, the finishing touch, and then installation. The materials were sourced locally. It was constructed in Ibadan. I was able to get a few technicians to work together to kind of physically build the whole workstation. So for the inverter, the IoT, because it was COVID period, we couldn't source anything from outside Nigeria, so we have to use all the materials that are available in Nigeria. For example, the IoT parts, there's no way to do printed circuit board outside Nigeria during COVID, so I hand soldered everything, just with my hand, so which makes it more difficult, but then we're able to deliver the job, and that's really important.
Toby built the workstation for his university, and with the help of the school's administration, he was able to position it at a strategic point. Accessing the functions of the station can only be done via a booking system on the school's portal.
This area that we are, they call it Internet Zone, because the Wi-Fi was able to broadcast across this region. So any student that doesn't even want to sit inside on the workstation, they can use their phone or their laptop within this radius and still use the Wi-Fi of the workstation. For a student, a qualified student, of course they have a matric number, So automatically it's integrated to their school portal. They only need to go to the school website, which is Workstation whatever school, like Taisholari, and then book like the Workstation. They have only 2 hours a day. Imagine a school of over 23,000, so we can't accommodate all the students. So we give them access to use it at least 2 hours a day. So when they book the Workstation, they need to come to the physical Workstation. They can't use it in their house. So when they reach the Workstation, they need to log in with their, the same magic number and the password, and the Workstation will dedicate a seat number for them. They need to look for the seat number and just go ahead and sit on it, and then turn on the sockets, and it works for that single student.
Having stable electricity is a concern for many in the country, as a lot of households turn to alternative power sources for use. Hence why Oluwatobi thought of using solar power that is not only free for all, but has no environmental hazard.
We all talk about the CO2 emission as well. We want a world that is free of emission. Using the power of sun, it's free. It makes it even more important for us to use solar panel. We don't want to use the normal because it's not even always available. It's not constant. But for this, it's always going to be available. It's one of the reasons why we decided to use solar, and of course, environmental reason as well. So for this Workstation, we've got the inverter. The inverter is like 5 kVA inverter. It's inside, which could power more devices than this. And the battery, the capacity, even without sunlight, can last up to like a week. We've got the IoT parts, which is my own field. It goes like, it has microcontroller, which is what we call the processor. So all the students automatically, when they book the Workstation, the microcontroller sends a signal to its particular socket they booked, and then they have access to it. We've got the solar panel as well. We've got the radio. One of the radio receive direct broadcast from the ICT center, and the other radio just broadcast and make this like a radius.
Oluwatobi used his personal funds for this project, but hopes to get partnerships from schools and organizations that want workspaces within their environment. Toby was on the engineering team working on Elon Musk's Hyperloop and has invented over 15 IoT-enabled hardware products, many with a mission to change the world.
The sporty all-electric car from the Netherlands resembles a BMW coupe, but it's unique. It captures more carbon than it emits.
As far as we know, this behind me is the world's most sustainable car at the moment. It's called ZEM, and ZEM stands for Zero Emission Mobility. This car was made with the goal to minimize the CO2 emitted during the manufacturing phase, the life phase, and the end-of-life phase. The slogan or the main phrase, catchphrase with this car is it captures more carbon than it emits. In the front, it has 2 carbon filters, which filter literally the air while you drive along, capturing the carbon, which get trapped in the filters.
Called ZEM, meaning Zero Emission Mobility, the 2-seater houses a Clintron lithium-ion battery pack, and most of its parts are 3D printed from recycled plastics. The target is to minimize carbon dioxide emitted during the car's full lifespan from manufacturing to recycling. Battery electric vehicles emit virtually no CO2 during operation compared with combustion engine vehicles. But battery cell production can create so much pollution that it takes EVs tens of thousands of miles to achieve carbon parity with comparable fossil-fueled models.
It's electrically powered, of course, it's sustainable. So it's carrying in the front 9 batteries from the company Clintron, which have managed to make their modules 95% recyclable, which is at the moment one of the highest in the industry. So our batteries at the end of its life, which is a long use life, can be recycled to 95%.
The Eindhoven team estimates that ZEM uses 2 filters that can capture up to 2 kilograms of CO2 over 20,000 miles of driving. They imagine a future when filters can be emptied at charging stations.
Our team is called Teucomotive. We've existed now for 10 years and our team is about shaping the future of mobility. And of course we want to do it in a sustainable way. Our end goal is to create a more sustainable future, and we're doing it in the field of automotive mobility. So this is actually our 7th car we have produced as a team, and yeah, our main goal is to create the future of mobility in a sustainable way, of course.
The students are showing their vehicle on a U.S. promotional tour to universities and companies from the East Coast to Silicon Valley. Inspired at first by a desire to beat their city's notorious traffic, a group of Cambodian students has designed a prototype drone that they hope can eventually be used to ferry people from Phnom Penh and even help fight fires. With 8 propellers and using a school chair for the pilot's seat, the drone was developed by students at the National Polytechnic Institute of Cambodia on the outskirts of the capital. The drone, which its development team has dubbed the NPIC Human Carrier Drone, is currently at an early stage of development and testing. Equipped with 4 batteries, the prototype drone can carry a pilot weighing up to 60 kg and fly as high as 4 meters and for about 10 minutes.
In
Phnom Penh City, we have big problems related to traffic. So we did some research about this before building the drone. So we came up with this drone project. As we had this idea that we wanted to solve some problems for our society by making a taxi drone and invent drones for firefighters.
The prototype drone has taken around $20,000 in 3 years to build, and the students estimate it needs at least 2 more years before it's completely ready and fully tested. Sareen Sereyatva, Head of Research and Development Technology at NPIC, says that the school is currently trying to secure more investments for the projects and that the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly delayed development and testing. Once the prototype is finished, however, the school hopes that it can be applied to practical usage in everyday life.
In principle, if we make one drone, the cost is expensive. But if we make them to sell on the market, the cost will go down because we have done our research. So when we invest to build one drone, then the cost goes higher.
According to Sereyatva, the school still plans to build a firefighting drone prototype, a project which may cost up to $40,000. The team is also making improvements to the design and functions of the original carrier drone, such as adding more propellers.
The month of October is recognized as Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it's a time dedicated to raise awareness about digital security. In my chat with Chibuike Good News, CEO of DoChase, we talk about the cybersecurity landscape globally and what we can do to reduce cybercrime.
So globally, just as technology is developing, cybersecurity is just an industry or sub-industry in the tech space that is also developing. As the people are building solutions to help humanity use technology to solve problems, the bad guys are also innovating. They're also building, looking for loopholes in those solutions that are built and taking advantage of that. And so it is a growing industry. It is very big, almost as big as the technology itself, because for every business, depending on whatever sector you are playing, the security threats are quite enormous, but they are individualistic. Before, we saw cybersecurity to be more of email compromise, but right now, cybersecurity is far more than email compromise. It includes impersonation. There are also recently there's a betting company in Nigeria who was hacked, and all the access to the company were denied, and they were asked to make payments by crypto. And you could see that it's not just taking in people's emails right now, it's more of looking for vulnerabilities in the systems and then taking advantage of that. And in the financial space, it could also be in form of hacking into systems. There's also a rumor of a business that was hacked recently, and a huge withdrawals were done out of that. So the security industry is really evolving, and all these things boil down to how secured is the system. How secured are we from the bad guys? Now, we don't think that people that are doing threats, that are becoming threats in the cyberspace, are docile, or they're even as smart as people that are protecting us from that. So, as the threats are evolving, the industry, which is the security industry, is also evolving to make sure that if we are transacting on the internet, we are safe. If we are doing everything on the internet, we are safe.
Well, now we know that there have been a number of, efforts by both individuals and organizations to, reduce cybercrime. But why is this still a recurring global issue?
We haven't solved all the technology problems we ever had. In the next, let me say, 3-4 years, we're going to have new dynamics in technology. Now, as technology is evolving, security threats are also evolving. And we're going to also have new threats or new dynamics of threat. For example, if we ever say we're going to solve all the cybersecurity problems, I think that's a tall dream, because there's really no model that is consistent about the security threats. It just changes. And as individuals solve the one that is most prevalent now, tomorrow another one comes up. And that's why you will see that the threats that we had years back have probably been solved, but what we have not solved is the threat that's looking at us in the face. So it's an evolving industry that there's no lasting solution to security. It's just that people have to update their security over and over. Businesses, companies, individuals just have to update their security systems over and over as the dynamics of the threat increases.
Now let's bring this conversation down to Africa and, of course, Nigeria. How serious is the rate of cyber threats we have compared to the rest of the world?
I think for Nigeria, the cyber threat is big, although I wouldn't say ours is the worst globally. But every environment has the dynamics that apply in it. Example, Nigeria has its own dynamics. Those dynamics may not apply in the US, they may not apply in Russia. Now, the threat here is usually around financial crimes. And we haven't had a lot of cases of other impersonation and all that. But the major cyber threats we have had here are around finance. People want to hack into fintechs. People want to hack into banks. People want to hack into people's individual financial information and use that to steal. But for us, Nigeria is far more secure than a number of other countries. Like I said earlier, before you consummate any financial transaction in Nigeria, you have to do OTP, you have to do a number of a number of security checks, but in some countries, you probably need just a card and the card details for that to work. So Nigeria has its challenges, but of course, the threat is quite much. And then there's a whole lot industry in Nigeria that is thriving on vulnerabilities in technologies. Now, those vulnerabilities are not vulnerabilities of Nigerian companies, but they are vulnerabilities of global companies. They are not so good about the reputation of Nigeria anyway, but there are a whole lot of people back home that are looking at vulnerabilities in other people's systems and taking advantage of that to enrich themselves.
And as an individual, what do we need to do to ensure we stay secure online?
So for individuals, basic things around your emails, your financial data, your identity theft, and your income. Now, let me look at the email side. On the email, always make sure that you don't use public systems, you don't share devices, and you also make sure that you change your password regularly. So there are these systems, there are these people that kind of harvest passwords and then try to have access. And you know that recently, we have what we call password managers, and people have a lot of data stored on browsers on their systems, and some of these criminals just steal those things and then use it to log into so many things. So always make sure you update your passwords regularly. Also, passwords to your email and your password managers. And then before you do anything on the internet, also be your own, help the security system to also check around to know if you want to put your card on a system, is this system secured? Does this site have a name? Do they have a reputation? Have you interacted with them? Have you do a little finding, a little bit of due diligence before you can do financial transactions? Now that helps you to also guard against being vulnerable. Then, and thirdly is if you want to do financial transactions, always make sure that whatever you're doing has a 3D security. That what I mean is that when you put your password, there's an OTP, and then there are sometimes questions. Now, it is more difficult for a fraudster to get all those details about you. I'm not saying that there are no cases of theft, but there are still, when all this, when you're able to have good password system, you have a good 3D security, you use OTPs and you don't share your pins outside, then it makes you better off. And also as individuals, we should also look out for sites that are secured. You don't do transactions with unknown sites. It's good to explore on the internet, but you're better off doing things on places that you have known for a while. And then the dynamics of security is also changing, and you need to make sure that some of your details are not easily accessible by fraudsters, because fraudsters can assemble your details from your social media to your email to the devices you use, and once they can put together that, they can use that to impersonate you. They don't necessarily need to take money from your account, but they can impersonate you and use your details to create an account somewhere and be committing fraud there. And once they have moved the money or they've moved money out of there, they can log off. So always make sure that wherever you are putting in your details, you are secured. And if you ever have to share a system, don't share a system where you expose your personal details.
Well, that was such an insightful conversation, Chibuike. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
And it's a wrap on the show this week. Thank you for watching. As always, we will continue to show you how startups, big techs, and inventful thinkers are crafting homegrown solutions using technology. And if you miss any part of the show, you can always catch up on social media at Tech Trends TV or on the Channels TV YouTube account. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. See you next time.